Tristan on the track.
Hey everybody, I'm Pat Foster. This is TransWorld MOTOcross. We're out at Redbud for the 2012 KX450 intro. At first glance, the 2012 doesn't look a whole lot different than the 2011, but it's virtually an all-new bike. Kawasaki took a lot of the input that people had given them from the 2011, addressed a few problems, and made a lot of cool, innovative changes just to make the bike a lot more versatile. I mean, nearly everything on this bike is adjustable. Kawasaki's got a four-way adjustable bar mount, so you can move the bars back and forth if you're a taller guy, shorter guy. It's the first time I've ever seen adjustable foot pegs. You can move the foot peg height, drop it down a little bit for the taller riders. Between being able to drop the foot pegs if you'd like, move the bar clamps into 4 different positions, the narrower seat, the flat seat, the lower tank, it just makes the ergonomics so comfortable. It's so easy to move around on. Kawasaki also cleaned up a lot of the seams, all the transitions, so there's really smooth flows. You're not catching your boots on anything. Just a lot of attention to detail this year on the 2012. In 2010, the Kawasaki had a really strong motor, a lot of hit, really abrupt. In 2011, they toned it down and made it a lot more user-friendly, easier for people to ride. A lot of the more aggressive riders were wishing they had that 2010 motor. So for 2012, Kawasaki's back with a really aggressive motor. This thing rips. It hits so hard coming out of the turns, pulls really well, tons of over rev. But for the folks who might not want that much hit, Kawasaki supplies you with 3 pre-programmed ignition couplers. You can unplug one coupler and plug in another one. You've got the stock setting, which is really good. You've got a mellower setting, and you've got a more aggressive setting, depending on what you want. And depending on the track conditions, you can change them throughout the day. As the track gets slicker, plug in the mellower coupler. Just a ton of adjustability in the motor. After spending all year on the 2011, there was a few things that we wanted to make adjustments to, and it's great. Kawasaki addressed nearly all of the concerns we had. One, the clutch was pretty weak. We'd go through clutches pretty easily. They came in with stiffer clutch springs, which really helped a lot, and that was part of the fix for the 2011. One of the other things that people complain about on the Kawasaki is it's a big bike. It feels wide, it feels bigger than the other bikes. Kawasaki's got a new frame this year. It's narrower. They've actually thinned some of the metal out at the top to give it a little less of a rigid feeling. The seat is narrower, the tank is narrower and lower, so the seat-tank combination is much easier to slide up and move around on the bike. Even though the Kawasaki's not any lighter this year, the chassis changes that they made make it feel so much narrower and nimbler. It actually feels lighter. Coming into corners, the bike lays into the turns really well. It's especially tight ruts, it really dives in a lot better, and it just doesn't feel like you're wrestling as big of a bike into the turns. We did have a few issues with the front end pushing a little bit. I don't think we have the best front tire on this bike for the conditions today, but set the sag at 104, played with some clickers, and we've got this thing handling really well. On some of the bigger hits, the suspension blows through the stroke. We'd need a little stiffer valving, maybe some stiffer fork springs. But on all the chop, the bumps, going into the turns, the suspension works great and the bike handles really well. Stays really well connected to the track. It's really confidence inspiring. One of the coolest things about the new Kawasaki is their new traction control device. You hit the button while you're sitting in first gear, second gear, or in neutral on start, and it retards the ignition timing to help control your traction coming off the gate. And we've played with it quite a bit today, and it works really well. You can definitely feel the difference. You can do a start without the traction control, and then come back and do the same start again. It almost feels like a very controlled, just a minor clutch slip that keeps traction to the ground. It definitely works well. Kawasaki's just got a really exciting package for 2012. The motor's better, The suspension's better, it handles better, it feels lighter, it feels narrower. We've got one more day of testing here at Redbud, and we're going to take this thing home and ride some tracks that we're more familiar with and look for a comprehensive test in a future issue of TransWorld. Thanks a lot. The suspension worked good. It's a little bit soft on some of the big hits, like if you go a little long on Larocco's leap or Foster's leap. I just thought I'd throw that out there and see if it sticks at all.